What's up, folks? This is Acid Root. So I got a tip off from Jackal Goldkick about some more good JB music, and this is kind of from back in the day, but this is his Life is Offensive album. So this came out, it seemed like it was from the MySpace days back when folks were dropping music on there and kind of having mixtapes and free listenable music and that sort of stuff. And that's a pretty good time period. When you think about most of the time when you think about internet rappers and you think about those days, you think about like Sean Kingston, Justin Bieber, and pop rap and that sort of stuff. But it's good to see that there were some talented fellows like JB that were kind of doing that sort of stuff. And Jackal Goldkick had told me that this project is not really around that much. So I'm not sure if he dropped it for retail or if it was just like, a tour. You had to go to his shows to pick this up because some musicians will do that. But regardless of the situation, it seems like it's kind of tough to get a hold of, and JGK's channel is one of the few places where you can still listen to it. So that's kind of the situation. But it is a solid piece of work, and that's kind of the situation. Just like with how many projects I've reviewed by JB, this happens to be another one that really has its gems on there. Now, the only thing I almost wish that would have happened were just the fact of maybe getting like some. I mean, it seems like JB is kind of aloof and is hesitant to kind of get like buddies to really help him out, but I would have liked to have had like at least one or two people to kind of give him some freedom to kind of have like some posse tracks or something like that. But he does, I mean, him being a one man army, he handles that extremely well. There's not too many people. I feel like him and maybe like a few other people. Eminem's kind of good at that, but I think JB really emphasizes the point that he can do it for the most part. I mean, every song I've seen by him, I mean, he has a pretty good track record, is what I'm trying to explain to you. So that's kind of the situation as far as that goes. There are several, and this page that I have up that has some information on this says that there's actually 16 songs off of Life is Offensive, but Jackal Goldkick only had 14 listed. So the only songs I wasn't able to really hear was Kiss of Death and then Took My Breath Away. So I don't know about either of those songs, but the 14 songs I did hear were pretty solid. So it's going to get a high score, and I'm going to go ahead and list some of these. I don't know if he had music videos or singles attached to it, but there are some immediate ones like Main Attraction, On Rush that have really good beats. Party Pooper is pretty good. He has some kind of inquisitive songs like or is it Come Over Here and the struggle that happened to kind of just be about learning about him and kind of realizing some of that stuff. So and what I mean by that is JB has personality, and I like the fact that he can handle some of these topics. I mean, honestly, I like the idea of kind of seeing variety in like some of these song titles, because that's kind of the situation is uh for the most part, he doesn't just talk about money. He could have taken like the regular route and just talked about money, cars, women, and like hustle and that sort of stuff. But he actually has more stuff to say. And like for example, like a couple of these topics, him talking about like Not a Quitter and Doubt Me Now. Like Doubt Me Now is just kind of a middle finger to like the haters due to the fact that they're kind of Johnny come latelys and are trying to coattail on his success and that sort of stuff. And Not a Quitter is just about him, having the emphasis to keep going. And the Party Pooper is kind of like the stuff that Eminem started to do, where he would just diss like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and some of those groups, and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. Um, that sort of stuff. One of the songs I wasn't too big a fan of, but was pretty interesting also, was Writer's Block. I mean, he was just kind of being sarcastic in that one. Somehow I did. I mean, it kind of felt that one was kind of messy, but I did like. I mean, the thing about JB with his lyrics is the fact that he most of the time has something interesting to say, and he picks usually like some good words to kind of do that. He has better like word selection than some other folks. He's not bland with like his words that he rhymes and stuff. So that's kind of good. He knows how to put songs together. So that's another good thing. I also liked Revolving Doors, which is kind of a song about how things are continually the same. No matter how much success you get, there's always more steps that you can take, which is basically the truth. So, I mean, there's some good, interesting themes on here. I mean, he knows how to have club tracks, kind of like with his Remember My Name mixtape. So, I do like some of the kind of up tempo songs like I Came to Party and On Rush, Doubt Me Now. I think there might have been another one, Come Over Here. So some of those were, I mean, yeah, I like the up tempo. I like the up tempo ones. I'm glad JB can do it. But I guess I'll kind of go in on this and select like my favorites, so you know the ones that supposing I get a hold of this record that I would kind of listen to more often. So basically, out of the 14 songs I heard, and I already told you the two that I wasn't able to hear out of 16, but the four songs I didn't enjoy out of the 14 were um, Forget Your Fears, I Know You Know, Writer's Block, and Where Is Hip Hop. Now, honestly, it's difficult to listen to those songs on my laptop because I tried doing it and my computer kept crashing. But uh, I kind of feel like, one of those, like Forget Your Fears, kind of didn't have the best beat I felt. And Where is Hip Hop was kind of the same thing. And some of those just felt better songs. I mean, I can tell that some of these, like Come Over Here, On Rush, some of those just felt more like the attention was kind of better for those, and they just feel more star studded. It simply has like a more compact and enthralling kind of pump to it, and that's kind of the thing. Um, yeah, I really liked I Came to Party, really liked Main Attraction, really liked Doubt Me Now. So, I mean, I normally will gravitate towards up-tempo songs, but I'm starting to also kind of like these type of songs that kind of have like lyrical stuff in them, but are not necessarily for the club or for smoking or for just being outgoing, where they're not necessarily introverted, where you're just inside cleaning the house or just taking a day off or something, but they're actually just kind of on the go, but not quite maybe with the socializing intact. And Eminem was kind of good at that back in like the Marshall Mathers LP days, but it just doesn't seem like he does that as much as he did. Maybe he does. It's just more difficult to notice. But JB's pretty good at that. I mean, I think maybe JB doesn't like being compared to Eminem, but I think he at least studied him to know like the sort of stuff that works so he can make better versions of what he's trying to do. And that shows. I mean, that's really the thing. He has like he makes club songs, he makes lyrical songs, he makes kind of ruminating songs where he just is saying what's on his mind, and it's interesting. He does that on Rush, he does that on Forget Your Fears, he does that on I Came to Party and Main Attraction. So there's just a good handful of some of these that just have, I mean, the guy is interesting to kind of go through 14 or 16 songs by himself and um, not be overtly boring. And I think part of the appeal also is just the fact that you can listen to some of these songs on different days. So I feel like if you're not in the mood for Party Pooper, Come Over Here, you can listen to songs like The Struggle and Revolving Doors and some of those other ones. I mean, it just seems like there's different moods, which is important. And that's kind of how I've looked at it. I mean, I listen to JB's Remember My Name mixtape pretty often, but there are, out of the 6, 7, 8 songs that are on there, there are different days I listen to some of these. That's good. And I think, you could say other musicians do that also, but it's just kind of, you know, it's important to keep the interest sparked, or even if you have weekday and weekend music, to not lose the interest in the overall electricity that makes music compelling. So JB is pretty good at that. So me liking 10 out of 14 songs, I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's really surprising. It's disappointing that it's so difficult to find, but I do like the appeal of this project and kind of seeing the success of it, especially him doing it by himself. I mean, I don't know if he produced these songs either by himself, but it just is good. I mean, that's the thing. I like this kind of underground and more kind of hard to find type stuff. I mean, really, if this CD was like just for like $4, $5, $6 at like one of his shows from like 7 or 8, 9 years ago, it'd be worth the purchase. And that's the kind of stuff that you don't just find at Best Buy or Target or something like that, but it still winds up kicking ass. I mean, I think if I would have bought this for like $5 at a show, I'd probably like it even more, just because in some cases this is better than stuff that you can get for like 16.99, which really says something, because there are people nowadays that can't even make it to like the second or third single. So that should tell you something. But that's kind of the thing. I won't rate it with the social score just because it's underground, and I don't know. I don't have enough information to know if he dropped music videos for this. But yeah, for what it is, this was a solid and substantive release.